Margaret Brennan, I don't know if it's a punishment that CBS is inflicting on her, but she chose another administration official, a cabinet member, to go on this weekend. And I feel like every week it's someone's turn in the cabinet to just come destroy her. Marco Rubio was on this weekend. And I want to play this. It's a little long, but it's worth listening to. Take a look at Marco Rubio on Face the Nation with Margaret Brennan.
I want to ask you about a decision you made to revoke a student visa for someone at Columbia University this past week. The Wall Street Journal editorial board writes, the administration needs to be careful. It's targeting real promoters of terrorism, not breaking the great promise of a green card by deporting anyone with controversial political views. Can you substantiate any form of material support for terrorism, specifically to Hamas, from this Columbia student, or was it simply that he was espousing a controversial political point of view?
Well, not just the student. We're going to do more. In fact, we every day now we're approving visa revocations, and if that visa led to a green card, the green card process as well. And here's why. It's very simple. When you apply to enter the United States and you get a visa, you are a guest. And you're coming as a student, you're coming as a tourist, or what have you. And in it, you have to make certain assertions. And if you tell us when you apply for a visa, I'm coming to the U.S. to participate in pro-Hamas events, that runs counter to the foreign policy interest of the United States of America. It's that simple. So you lied. You came. If you had told us that you were going to do that, we never would have given you the visa. Now you're here. Now you do it. So you lied to us. You're out. It's that simple.
But
it's that straightforward.
Is there any evidence of a link to terrorism, or is it just his point of view?
Yeah, they take over. I mean, you should watch the news. These guys take over entire buildings. They vandalize colleges.
Intensely.
They shut down
I'm
colleges.
asking about the specific justification for the revocation of his visa. Was there any evidence of material support for terrorism?
Was the negotiator negotiating on behalf of people that took over a campus, that vandalized buildings? Negotiating over what? That's a crime in and of itself, that they're involved in being the negotiator, the spokesperson, this, that, the other. We don't want it. We don't need these people in our country. We never should have allowed them in the first place. If he had told us, I'm going over there, and I'm going over there to become the spokesperson and one of the leaders of a movement that's going to turn one of your allegedly elite colleges upside down, people can't even go to school, library buildings being vandalized, we never would have let him in. We never would have let him in to begin with. And now that he's doing it and he's here, he's going to leave, and so are others, and we're going to keep doing it.
I love it. All right. So, I mean, look, guys, to me, first of all, Marco Rubio every week just impresses me. Number two,
oh my gosh,
Margaret Brennan. At some point, go to the Dems or something, or get some high school kids to come in and be your guests, because it's embarrassing how they roll her every weekend with facts.
She should become a barista. Just become a barista at this point.
You think AOC could help her?
What now?
AOC could probably help her.
Maybe
trainer. But I mean, they are seriously though, the ACLU and these guys, like, they're suing people to keep them in the country. And I'm like, wait a second, these are bad people. They lied. They're here as visitors. Why are you? This is the problem. I mean, you guys mentioned it a minute ago, but the left keeps doubling down on stupid. And the idea that you're defending keeping people like that in the country, to me, is nuts.
Yeah. Defending people like that, and also Tren de Aragua. Like, what? This is what Democrats, this is the hill they want to die on. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Keep doing it, and we'll keep winning.
The president flew people out of this country over the weekend. And I know the left is blowing up about the legal, whether or not the judge had issued the order before the plane took off or whatever. The bottom line is this: Tren de Aragua and MS-13 are bad people that kill, murder, harm American citizens. And the left is out there arguing, but maybe the judge, how do you in your right mind defend that?
Yeah. Then you take them into your home. If you think they're not so bad, why don't you invite them into your guest house with your teenage daughter and have them come stay a while? Seriously, I'd like to see any of those bleeding hearts do that, but they won't. They won't do it. They're just going to complain. And this guy, they were talking about Khalil, right? In that clip, that Margaret clip. They're talking about that guy came over to the United States, got an Ivy League education, spent all this time here, got all sorts of free crap. And then when he was faced with, somebody calling him out for being an American hating jerk, he got a GoFundMe started by Ilhan Omar's daughter, made a bunch of money, And like I said in our show this morning, like you tell me
Wait,
what other
her daughter really started? I didn't know that. Her daughter started.
There's a GoFundMe. Yeah, there's a GoFundMe for the guy. He got a bunch of money. So it's like
$500,000 as of yesterday.
Yeah. There's probably more in it now. So like you tell me what other country he could do that in than in this beautiful experiment called the United States of America. Like, and then he hates it. He hates this country. And he wants to just spew terror crap in this country. It makes my blood boil when I see stuff like that. And then I see liberals defending this guy. I can't. But you're welcome for all the money that you made here in the United States, dude.
And by the way, I didn't realize that, but the GoFundMe, you know how many times they've canceled somebody on the right to say, like, they're going to allow that money through GoFundMe for a guy that was in the country illegal, that supported, theoretically supported the destruction of and vandalism of U.S. And yet they'll take away the money from someone on the right that's trying to save a life. I mean, it's unbelievable.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. Unbelievable. All right, let's talk to something really fun. The president overnight. So there's this trend that started, and I think the Heritage Foundation was the first group of people to put this out. I will give them credit, and if I'm wrong, people will put it in the notes and let me know. But they put out this thing a couple weeks ago that Joe Biden's signature, when you looked at it, was identical for 4 years, and they basically realized it's an Autopen. Now, for people who don't understand, most Senate offices and a lot of, the White House has an Autopen. So you send a letter to the President of the United States, say, hey, it's Timmy's birthday. He sends you back a letter, happy birthday, Timmy. And it's usually Autopen. The Senate does that to a lot of form letters, constituent letters. But on big things, like I'm telling you, I will say everything that I have with President Trump, my certificate of office when I was press secretary and on the board of the Naval Academy, are all hand signed. He takes great pride in that. And they started to realize that all these things in Biden world, literally for 4 years, have the same Autopen signature, meaning, so initially the question was, what did he actually decide on? What was he personally involved in? Knowingly, right. And then Trump overnight puts out this thing and declares that the pardons that he issued are void because Biden used an Autopen. And he's claiming that, clearly Biden didn't even know what he was doing, signing these pardons for Mark Milley and members of Dr. Fauci, members of his family. And therefore, if he didn't know, are they legally valid? Now, I don't know, but I think it presses the question, what did Biden actually do or know was being done on his behalf while he was president?
Well, we talked about this on our show this morning, and the problem, I mean, listen, it's a great squirrel to chase in some ways, because I think all of us would agree that he had no idea what he was doing for much of his entire presidency. The problem is they can easily trot him out and have him say, it'll be Jill in his ear going, just say that you knew, but that you signed all these pardons.
No joke, folks. No joke. No joke.
Right.
Look,
yeah, exactly.
Look, no
so
joke.
I don't think there's
said, Joey, when you sign something, Joey, use the Autopen, Joey. And so I use the Autopen. I'm not kidding,
there's not going to be a legal standing. There's not going to be a legal way for them to say this is null and void, because all he has to do is come out and say, oh yeah, I totally knew about it. You know what I mean? But it does make everybody second guess and question everything that he signed off on, because I don't think anybody trusts that he knew what was going on.
Oh my God, I don't think any of us with half a firing synapse in our brain think that I don't think he knew anything that he did in the past 4 years. I think there was somebody else running the show. Like I said before, it was Weekend at Bernie's for 4 years.
Do we
Except
all
for
agree,
that resignation
though,
letter, right? Because he signed that.
Trump,
right.
When Trump said this, do we all agree that they don't actually want to overturn it, but they want to sow further doubt into the what Biden actually did? Do you think that's really what Trump's after?
I think that's right.
I don't know. I think it would be nice to overturn some of the pardons.
I do.
I don't
and that's
think he
why
realistically thinks it will happen, though. I mean, I think this is a bit of a troll.
Don't you think some lawyer, he didn't just come up with this. I think somebody gave him a legal basis and said, you might want to throw it out there because...
Right. I mean, listen, weirder things have happened.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah.
Which brought me to thinking about not just what Biden didn't do, but what Trump did. And it goes back to where we started this conversation about the poll numbers. And I was being tongue in cheek over the weekend. But if you think about it, because I keep hearing saying Trump isn't, this Doge stuff isn't what he said he would do. And I'm like, actually it kind of is. Right. Mm-hmm. So egg prices are down. I was driving through last Friday. I was taking the kids to school. And I looked at the price of the gas stations in town, on the way to their school. And I was like, wow. I mean, one of them was $2.73 for unleaded. And I can't remember the last time it was under $3. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, gas prices are down, egg prices are down, inflation's down, the border's secure. He's negotiating the end of these foreign wars that were started under Biden. And I joked at the end of my tweet, and I said, I just wish that Trump was focused on what he said he would do, because because I'm like, wait a second, what is it that he's doing? Like the DOGE stuff, right? So if government spending partially leads to inflation, I would argue that brings it down. 2, he talked about the deficit, that helps bring it down. Like he talked about extending tax cuts. I mean, what is it that he's not doing? I don't get that the left keeps saying, I wish he was focused on what he said he would do. I'm like, I kind of think he is.
He is. He's totally focused. It's interesting that the liberals aren't talking about egg prices anymore. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
They've kind of
or
shut
gas
up
prices.
that.
Or gas prices.
They're really quiet.
Because Brooke Rollins is on it.
It's really weird. They're not.
Yeah.
I guess it's not that important anymore to them, right?
Yeah. We better switch. And I mentioned this, by the way, the weekend and the bombing. And again, it's just amazing that if you don't look, right, you guys talk about stuff every morning. I try to do what I can after I'll watch you guys steal your ideas and then do it at night. But but you think about over the weekend, right? President Biden would leave the White House, go to Delaware, and then they would tell us he was back at the White House on Mondays, and he wouldn't do anything for like 3 days. With Trump over the weekend, like all of a sudden I start hearing about the ISIS, like they killed the fugitive leader of ISIS. He's killed in Iraq, right? And we're just relentless in pursuing this. And then they start these attacks on the Houthis. And they made a big distinguishing note that I think was important. Biden would do these one-off little bombings, and they would go for like 5 minutes. They target some sites and then be done. It sounds like these guys are relentless. They're firing, planes off of ships in the Gulf and like going after these guys in a way that's going to be like, we're going to come after you. We're going to destroy you until you're gone. And it's a very different tactic.
Well, it sends a much stronger message, obviously, than what Biden ever did. And and Pete Hegseth mentioned it over the weekend. He said, until they stop attacking our ships, we will attack them unrelentingly. And it's this whole, we're going to show that America is strong and we're not going to be the world's doormat anymore. And I love it. I don't know who can argue with that. Why should we allow our Navy ships and other ships to be attacked over and over again with this sort of pathetic little wuss response? It does nothing. Clearly, it doesn't stop the problem. So I welcome tougher action.
Yep.
Daisy, the thing is, it's not just about the Houthis and whatever. I mean, Mark made the point. It's about freedom of navigation. We were being prevented from where we could go, which is commerce and so many other things. If our ships can't travel freely, that actually affects prices. That actually affects us. And the idea that these guys are being relentless about going after them speaks volumes, because it just wasn't happening under Biden. In fact, no one would even acknowledge that something like this was occurring.
Right. And I think now you can just kind of see it. You can sense that adults are back in charge.
Yeah.
I think we use the word balls a lot on our podcast. I don't know if I can use that word here, but I just did. But I mean, it's just like, seriously, we got our balls back, like the adults are back in charge. We're doing things that actually benefit the American people. We're not kowtowing to these people. And I think it's like peace through strength. We're actually doing it. We're doing it. And so we're seeing that happen. And so quickly. That's what is so great to me. It's not something that like they're just talking about and not doing. They're doing it, and they're doing it in the first 2 months of him being in office. And that is so refreshing to me, because we had to do it quickly because the world was falling apart.
Yeah. One person that we didn't talk about this weekend, I drove by a Tesla dealership here in town, and there are people standing outside cheering. And I'm like, what bunch of losers are you that on a Saturday, beautiful Saturday, you're sitting outside holding Ukrainian, Canadian, and Mexican flags outside of a Tesla dealership? I mean, seriously, I mean, that's like your protest. And then there was this clip that Newsbusters put out over at the Media Research Center that says everything you need to know about Elon. I mentioned the rocket, and of course, they're not giving him any credit for saving American lives. But remember, this is what they had to say about Elon Musk not too long ago.
I would argue that the new Jesus Christ of our era are Steve Jobs and Elon Musk, and it's important to have heroes.
The 47-year-old engineer has been called the real-life Tony Stark, better known as Iron Man.
Elon Musk, a.k.a. real-life Iron Man.
The guy is brilliant.
He is a genius, and at least for now, the world is better off having Elon Musk in it than not.
Elon Musk is one of the most interesting people in America. He's in the world, and I guess in the universe.
Elon Musk is doing things that may revolutionize transportation and climate change.
When somebody as staggeringly rich and staggeringly intelligent as Elon Musk talks, people listen.
Has there ever been a car salesman like Elon Musk?
Elon Musk is I think beyond a car salesman. I mean, he's more like a hero for a lot of folks.
All right, you get the point. It goes on. It's all these lefties praising him. I mean, until he helped aligned and helped Donald Trump, he was the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Mm-hmm. Just like Trump was.
Right, exactly. I was just going to say, I'm old enough to remember when Trump was hailed cool. As a really cool guy. Remember when he was in like all the movies and he was on shows? He went on The View, for crying out loud, and they loved him.
And they loved him.
Enjoyed pet him, and touched his hair. And now it's like he's the devil to these people because you put an R after your name and their heads explode and they can't deal. And that says, it speaks volumes about them and not us, right? So
yeah. Well, that's the thing, is that he's and the thing that's so funny is that he's doing things that in the past they advocated for. They talked about government waste and inefficiencies, and here you have this brilliant businessman doing it. And like I said at the beginning of the show, he sent a friggin' rocket to go rescue Americans, and no one's saying, "Hey, thanks, buddy." These guys were left there by Joe Biden, and think about this. Just stop for a moment, because I got through my head. You go to space for 10 days and they go, "Hey, listen, it's going to be more like 10 months. Like, that's not, I don't know how you get your head wrapped around. And by the way, it's not like you're shipped off to France. You're in space. You can't just decide to come home and Elon Musk sends a rocket to fix you. And no one on the left even can bring themselves to say, that's actually good for the country. That's awesome that we have this technology that we can use to help our own citizens. Unreal.
It is unreal. They won't give him credit for anything.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I'm actually, right. I live right outside of McGregor, Texas. I can hear SpaceX right now as we're talking.
Really?
Like there's a rocket going up right now. You guys can't hear it, but it constantly happens and I can hear it.
Do you think it's the one coming back that has the astronauts?
Probably not. It's probably going to like Boca Chica or something. But I mean, like they're constantly doing tests. The guy he is amazing, but you're absolutely right. I mean, they don't. Mock always jokes that he can like parallel park a rocket, and like I can't parallel park a car. But it's crazy. But they don't give him enough credit.
No. We are praising the wrong people right now.
Right.
And I think the three of us. Thank you, Elon. Thank you, Elon, on St. Patrick's Day. Well, I want to thank you guys, Chicks on the Right. Watch them every morning. I appreciate you guys starting the week with us here on the show. Always love our conversations. As I mentioned, tomorrow, FCC Chairman Brendan Carr, who's doing some amazing stuff reforming the network, taking on YouTube TV. We'll break it all down for him tomorrow on the show. Have a great night. Thanks for being here. Remember to sign up for my newsletter, SeanSpicer.com. It is free. Except if you want to be a VIP, then of course I'll take your money. Have a great night. Happy St. Patrick's Day. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Well, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get more.